In the landscape of American leadership, few figures stand out as distinctly as General Mark Milley, a man whose career has been defined by service, discipline, and a steadfast dedication to the nation. Alongside him in history stands former President Donald Trump, a leader whose rise to power was as unconventional as it was impactful. Milley, a career soldier, climbed the ranks to become the nation's top military officer. His worldview was shaped by years of discipline, strategic thinking, and a deep, unwavering commitment to the Constitution and the principles it upholds. He's led troops in combat zones, advised multiple presidents from both parties, and understands the immense gravity and responsibility that come with military decisions affecting millions. Trump, by contrast, emerged from the world of real estate and reality television, capturing the presidency with a disruptive, instinct-driven style and a bold, America First agenda that resonated with millions of Americans. His approach to leadership often challenged traditional alliances and norms, frequently clashing with military advisors, including General Milley, over the direction of American power. The tension between them was more than just personal. It represented a fundamental disagreement over the very nature of American power, leadership, and the responsibilities that come with it. As chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Milley was duty-bound to provide honest, unfiltered military advice to the president, even when that advice was unwelcome or politically inconvenient. Trump, on the other hand, often viewed established institutions as obstacles to his authority, while Milley placed a premium on stability, tradition, and the rule of law. Now, in 2025, Milley speaks as a private citizen, drawing on his unique vantage point and decades of experience at the highest levels of government and military command. When a man like General Milley issues a public warning, it's not just another headline, it's an event that demands the nation's attention, urging Americans to reflect on the values and choices that shape their future. General Milley's warning is direct and urgent. A leader who disregards expert advice, undermines vital alliances, and treats the military as a personal tool endangers not just national security, but the very foundation of democracy itself. His message is not just for politicians but for every citizen who values the nation's future. Milley argues that America's stability is built on diplomacy, strong partnerships, and the unwavering rule of law. These are the pillars that have kept the nation secure for generations, and they are now at risk from forces within our own borders. He points to troubling patterns, praising authoritarian leaders, openly criticizing democratic allies, and disregarding the value of long-standing relationships that have kept the world stable. These actions send mixed signals to the world, creating confusion and uncertainty among both friends and foes. Such rhetoric and behavior shake global confidence, embolden adversaries, and can destabilize entire regions, making the world a more dangerous place for everyone. Words from the commander-in-chief have real, lasting consequences. Even the threat to withdraw from NATO or dismiss crucial treaties can trigger global instability and erode decades of trust. Milley warns against politicizing the military, emphasizing that its loyalty must always be to the Constitution and the nation, never to any single individual or political party. When a leader demands personal loyalty from the armed forces, it crosses a dangerous line, threatening the very core of American democracy and the balance of power. The military must remain an impartial guardian of the nation, serving all Americans equally, not as a tool for personal power or political gain. Milley's message is a preemptive call for Americans to think critically and carefully about their leadership choices, especially in times of uncertainty. He urges the public to look beyond partisan politics and consider the true stakes: national safety, stability, and the preservation of democratic values for future generations. The core question remains: what happens if America's promises are no longer trusted and its institutions are no longer seen as impartial? The answer could define the nation's future for decades to come. General Milley's decision to speak out stems from first-hand experience during the Trump administration. He witnessed moments that, in his view, brought the nation dangerously close to crisis. He saw attempts to use active-duty troops for domestic law enforcement, challenging constitutional norms. Milley was alarmed by rhetoric that treated alliances like NATO as mere transactions, ignoring their role in U.S. security. He observed impulsive decisions bypassing expert advice, creating unpredictability and chaos. This volatility made it harder for allies to coordinate and easier for adversaries to exploit confusion. Milley feels a duty to share these lessons, believing the risks are too great to keep silent. His warning isn't about partisanship, it's about safeguarding the Republic's future. As a respected former military leader, he offers a testimony Americans need to hear. Ignoring Milley's warning risks unraveling America's alliances with real-world consequences that extend far beyond politics or headlines. These are not just abstract concerns. They affect the safety and prosperity of millions. Think of alliances as a global neighborhood watch, nations working together, sharing intelligence, costs, and mutual defense. This cooperation helps prevent conflicts before they start and ensures that no country has to face threats alone. If America insults or abandons its allies, trust erodes and the nation stands alone, isolated on the world stage. This isolation makes it harder to build coalitions or respond to crises quickly and effectively. For example, NATO has deterred Russian aggression for decades. Questioning this commitment could invite conflict in Europe, destabilizing an entire region and putting American interests at risk. In Asia, alliances with Japan, South Korea, and others maintain stability, secure vital trade routes, and help prevent the rise of hostile powers that could threaten global peace. Treating these partnerships as mere business deals could spark dangerous arms races or even push longtime allies toward adversaries like China, shifting the balance of power in unpredictable ways. The fallout isn't just military. Global instability disrupts trade, breaks supply chains, and hurts American families economically, leading to higher prices, job losses, and uncertainty at home. Prosperity at home is tied to global stability, which depends on strong alliances and reliable international partnerships that foster growth and opportunity. If America's promises become worthless, instability follows, and the world becomes a far more dangerous place for everyone. The general's warning is clear. Foreign policy choices have direct, tangible impacts on every American's well-being, from national security to the price of everyday goods. Ignoring these risks could cost the nation dearly, both in terms of security and the future prosperity of generations to come. Milley's warning also targets threats at home, especially the misuse of the military in domestic affairs. Imagine federal troops deployed to quell protests, breaking a 150-year tradition and chilling American democracy. The Posse Comitatus Act exists to prevent the military from becoming a tool against citizens. Overriding this law would fundamentally alter the government's relationship with the people, replacing freedom with fear. Milley also warns against politicizing institutions like the FBI, CIA, and Department of Justice. When leaders demand personal loyalty or use these agencies to target rivals, public trust erodes. A justice system seen as partisan weakens the rule of law and divides the nation. Internal division makes America vulnerable to foreign manipulation and disinformation. True national strength comes from unity, trust in institutions, and adherence to democratic principles. Milley's message: these internal pillars are at risk and must be protected. Milley's warnings matter because national security affects every American's daily life. When global stability falters, gas prices rise, jobs are lost, and families feel the impact. Young people may face unnecessary wars if alliances are abandoned and diplomacy ignored. Business owners and workers depend on stable international relations for economic growth. A steady, experienced hand in foreign policy benefits everyone, from the factory floor to the boardroom. Most importantly, the principles Milley defends, rule of law, apolitical military, constitutional fidelity, define America itself. When these are threatened, it's not just policy at stake, but the nation's identity. Preserving security means preserving democracy and freedom. This responsibility belongs to every citizen, not just leaders. In the face of Milley's warning, citizens are not powerless. The first step is to become informed. Read widely, understand government, and learn America's global role. Informed citizens can question leaders' decisions and resist disinformation. Civil discourse is vital. Respectful conversations bridge divides and foster unity. National security is not partisan. Shared values unite Americans. Participation matters. Vote, engage in local and national elections, and hold representatives accountable. Support organizations that defend the rule of law and civil liberties. Lead by example, respect institutions, teach civic duty, and reject divisive rhetoric. National strength starts in communities where trust and cooperation thrive. Grassroots resilience is essential to America's security. For leaders, Milley's warning demands humility, and a return to sound governance. Leaders must seek and respect expert advice, rebuilding a rigorous national security process. Restoring faith in alliances requires consistent, reliable action, and treating allies as true partners. Domestically, leaders should heal divisions, lower rhetoric, and a firm commitment to the Constitution and rule of law. The president must defend the apolitical nature of the military and justice system. Bipartisan cooperation in Congress is essential to address global challenges. Leaders should prioritize country over party, forging long-term strategies for stability. By doing so, they can steer the nation back to safety and strength. Milley's call is for leadership that puts principle and country first. General Milley's message echoes warnings from history. Leaders like Washington and Eisenhower knew internal threats could be the greatest. America's strength is not inevitable, it's built on a balance of power and principle, guided by wise diplomacy and strong alliances. Our true power comes from values, freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. Abandoning these values means abandoning our greatest strength. In 2025, the nation faces a choice: disruption and isolation, or stability and constitutional fidelity. The stakes are high. The security architecture and democratic norms require constant defense. This is a moment for reflection, not reaction. Let us heed the Sentinel's warning, not out of partisanship, but patriotism. The future of our democracy depends on our ability to listen, think critically, and choose wisely. The call of history is clear. We must be prudent stewards of the American experiment.